So now, the scholars who have said that the person who leaves the salat has left the fold of Islam, they differ. How many salats is it? If you go back to Fath al-Bari by Ibn Rajab, and pay attention to this, because the famous Fath al-Bari, which is the explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari, who is the author? Ibn Hajar. But the first person who started to do a book called Fath al-Bari, Sharh of Sahih al-Bukhari, the explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari, was the Imam al-Hafiz Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. And they say that, rahimahullah, he started explaining the book Sahih al-Bukhari, and when he reached the book of the janazah, the funeral prayers, his janazah left his house, rahimahullah. So he reached only the book of janazah, but alhamdulillah it's been printed, and it's one of the most beneficial sharh's explanation of the Sahih al-Bukhari you'll find, especially because he did a very good job in the book of Iman, and it's very, very beneficial. There's two copies that I know of that have been printed, one in 10 volumes and one in 7 volumes. So it's a very beneficial explanation. If you go back to the first few hadith, you'll see he talks about this issue in detail, and he mentions that a lot of the Salaf from the scholars of the past, they see that even if a person leaves one prayer on purpose and doesn't pray it, that he leaves the fold of Islam. And from the scholars of our time is our Sheikh Ibn Baz rahimahullah ta'ala. He is also of this opinion that if anybody leaves even one prayer on purpose, that he leaves the fold of Islam. And he took this obviously from the statements of the scholars before him. He also has a famous fatwa rahimahullah that if a person were to put his alarm clock every morning for Fajr when it's time to go to work, as some people do now. When it's time, they don't put on for Fajr because they want to get that extra sleep, extra boost for the day. So now if he has to be at work at 8 o'clock, he'll put the alarm clock on 7, 6:30, whatever, how much time he needs. But he won't get up for Salat al-Fajr. He said a person who does this intentionally, then he leaves the fold of Islam. Other scholars mention different things, but I'll mention what Ibn Uthaymeen mentioned. He mentioned that it is the person who leaves the Salat altogether. He never prays. And this is an opinion that I see inshallah to be the strongest of the two. A person who does not pray altogether, he leaves the fold of Islam. And if you look at a person now, we have a lot of Muslims, especially in the time we live, and we know that perhaps they might leave sometimes, pray sometimes, and they're in a sira'. They're fighting within themselves because they want the good and shaitan is pulling them away. And we know these people personally, inshallah, we don't believe that they have left the fold of Islam. But obviously it's haram what he's doing, he's in great danger. And just the fact that some of the scholars, a lot of the scholars, that's why I mentioned the book of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, if you go back to it, you'll see he mentions just one prayer. The fact that the scholars have mentioned this, it shows you the danger of the situation and how you need to focus on striving to never leave any of your prayers.